Hey, what are you guys doing?
Everybody, I'll tell you what we're doing. It is Friday night here at 4Player Network, which can only mean one thing in particular. It means that it is time for Cocktail Time. The show where we have cocktails, we drink, we imbibe, and we talk about sweet, luscious video games. Hey everybody, my name is Joseph Christ, host of Cocktail Time here at 4Player Network, and with me, as per usual, is Mr. Chris Davis. How are you, Chris Davis?
I am starving, but otherwise I'm good.
Why haven't you eaten?
Well, I meant to have dinner,
right?
But then I ran out of time, and I had to start my cast this evening. And so I haven't eaten since about 2.
Oh, all right.
It's the perfect time to drink.
Yeah, on an empty stomach.
On an empty stomach? Yes,
that's good.
A good idea.
That's good. That's good. Hey, Smiley, Elisa said hello. Bob Webb is also here. How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing good.
It looks warm in there, Bob. Your camera's all hazed up. Looks like looks like you're being steamed like a dumpling.
It's been in the 90s, like high 90s. It was like
awful.
It peaked around 98 this week, 90 something like. It was 90 today.
Wow.
I don't know. It's been really fucking hot, and also the time difference, or with the sun setting later, it's freaking hotter later.
Yeah. It was it got in the 80s for Seattle this week, and today, luckily, it was like 70 degrees, and now it's like going to be raining and 60 over the weekend. Jeez. So I'm happy. I'm happy about that.
That's schizophrenic. The temperature's dropping like crazy here too. It's going to go back down to 70s after like 2 weeks of like 90s.
Yeah, it hasn't reached the 90s. It rarely reaches the 90s, so it's been bad, but not as bad. Not like California bad. So, which is why I moved here, because I cannot stand the fucking heat at all. It doesn't work well with me. So, what is this? Someone Jared just put a cocktail time. Is that supposed to be us? Is that
No, I think it's from a manga.
It looks like us, though.
It does, doesn't it?
You know? Like, there's me on the right, and there's
strangely appropriate. Me
on the right or on the top, and then there's Chris on the lower left.
Yeah, I figured you'd fucking say that, asshole.
Why? He's a very good-looking man.
Look at that flex.
Look at the flexing. Look at him. He's got, like, fangs or something.
Oh, I guess it's a cooking manga.
It's a cooking manga? A cooking manga?
Cooking manga.
Cooking manga. I haven't heard of the cooking manga. I guess there's mangas for everything, right? You read those backwards. I'm not a comic book person. I don't like comic books. So mangas are just like even too niche for me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I used to read comic books back when I was a kid. I used to collect back when Image started really becoming big, when they first started publishing Spawn and some of their other bigger comic books. That's when I started reading, I think it was The Amazing Spider-Man was at the time. Right. I have a bunch of old comics from that era, a couple of discontinued ones. My brother has a bunch of the original Spawn comics when they were first printed. I don't even know if they're worth anything today. It used to be pretty big back when they were making a movie about it and all that other bullshit. Now nobody knows what Spawn is.
I remember when Spawn was huge, and I saw the movie in the theaters.
I did too.
Yeah, and it had John Leguizamo, Lamalumba. John Leguizamo was in it, whatever his fucking name is. I don't think he's done anything since that movie.
Leguizamo? I can't remember his name anymore.
Something Leguizamo, something. I want to say
Linguizamo or
something
like
Lomanza from Final Fantasy 14. And he played a big fat...
Leguizamo.
Yes.
Leguizamo,
exactly.
there you go.
And he played a big fat clown. Everyone's like, ooh, he's really acting out of his range. Because of that. A big deal. Yeah. I don't remember anything about the Spawn movie besides that. Was it good?
No, it was awful.
Was it? Yeah. I think I remember that.
It was not very good.
So Shadow Psycho saying it's pronounced Leguizamo.
Leguizamo.
Usually when you become an actor, you usually change your name to something that's punchy and pronounceable for a reason, so people can say your name. Like people may not realize it, but Whoopi Goldberg, that's not her real name. She's neither a prank toy nor Jewish. So that was a made-up name, much like all of them. Leguizamo. Maybe that is the name he chose. It's like a Scrabble fail. You know. All right, what happened? Oh my goodness! All of my stuff came off my stuff.
Well, why did you allow this?
I didn't allow it. It just. What? What's it doing? There we go. What I'm trying to say is that it's time for the toast of the week. That's what I'm trying to say. I'll go first. And I know this has been my toast before, but my hype levels are pretty high today. Started yesterday when the launch trailer was released, but my toast goes to Machine Games for Wolfenstein: The New Order, which comes out on Tuesday.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, if you happen to go to Ustream or maybe Twitch, there are people playing it already. If you want to get a little piece of the action and see what it kind of looks like, so you might want to do that. And I was doing that today before the show, and it's what I expected, and it looks pretty damn good. So I'm excited, very excited for Tuesday. So my toast goes out to Machine Games. And what am I drinking tonight? Excuse me. I have vodka in Coke Zero. Is what I'm drinking tonight. So I am drinking vodka tonight. And I'm going to try not to drink too much vodka because I have things to do tomorrow. And I'd rather not be lying on my couch attempting to do something with my life. Chris Davis, what is your toast for the week?
Well, I think my toast of the week is very obvious, but I'll just go ahead and say it. It happens to be that new Godzilla film that came out.
See, we're going to have to talk about this because I'm just saying I hear a lot of hyperbole. I think there's some blind fan adoration going on here.
I lost you for a second. What did you say?
I said I'm hearing some hyperbole about this movie.
You mean hyperbole?
Hyperbole. It's the same thing.
No, hyperbole.
There's some
hyperbole sounds like a blood sport.
Hyperbole?
Yeah.
It is, actually. It actually is. All right.
It's, I
thought
it was a rather damn good movie, and definitely we need to talk about it. So.
All right, we will talk. We'll talk about that.
And I'm tonight. It's back to the old screwdriver, orange juice, and vodka. So.
All right. Very nice. Bob.
Yes, excuse me. Let me just.
No, just wipe the pizza off your face, Bob. Yeah. What kind of pizza is it? Face. You want a toasted pizza?
Yeah, fucking dinner. No. I am drinking. I just got a weird collection of things on my desk. I've got a Samuel Adams White Water IPA. I was drinking this while I was making the pizza. Mm-hmm. I've got a shot of tequila here and a ghetto margarita, which is basically like triple sec tequila and lemon lime juice.
Right. That works.
Yeah. And tonight I'm going to be toasting to this game that I just found out from. I found out actually through Daniel, who Joseph met at GDC, was the guy that works for Cactus Squid, the developers for Airscape. He tweeted about this game called Factorio, which is fucking awesome, and I don't know why I've never heard of it. It's amazing. It's awesome. I'll talk lots about it.
Cool. All right. We shall do that. We have some fresh stuff to talk about tonight. Let us do our toast. 1, then 2, then 3. Fantastic.
Am I the only one that doesn't drink like vodka on the show? I feel like that, the other alcohols are woefully underrepresented.
Yeah, I think you were always the one to sort of drink stuff that's sort of been outside of the common order of things,
malt liquor,
the malt liquors,
not vodka.
Well, people who've been watching Cocktail Time for a long time. Or remember the early days when you would come up with the most awful cocktails you could possibly make on the feed during the show and put them together. The bloody tampon.
The hot Mexican hooker.
The hot Mexican hooker, which had
Smoker's Cough was a delicious
Smoker's Cough. What was the so remember the hot Mexican hooker had tuna water in it, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's supposed to be tuna oil, but it's just the runoffs from a canned tuna.
Runoffs of a canned tuna. So
yeah,
the old people who have been with us from the beginning remember those days.
I know people want it brought back, but
they do.
I ran out of drinks to make. I actually did a lot of them.
Yeah.
And then a lot of them require like way too many stupid ingredients. Like they're really ridiculous things. Like I'll buy a bottle of something that I'm going to use 1 ounce of it. That's it. Like I can't use the rest of it.
And that's it forever. That's it forever. All right. I do want to talk about Godzilla because we spoke about it the last cocktail time, and my prediction was that it was not going to be very good. Was my prediction. That's what I was saying. I haven't seen the movie yet, so I cannot give a definitive yes or no. But I seem to know where you're standing, Chris. My question is, my fear is that you might be a little biased.
That is true. I do have a little bias on my side.
Like, I don't think it would have taken much. I think it could have been a video of an autistic child with a Godzilla toy and, like, crushing a sandcastle with it, and you would have been like, beautiful.
Well, I mean, depending on the cinematic angles, maybe a 2 or 3 out of 10, but no, right. I need more than that.
Me too, okay. So just tell me.
They get points for trying, so...
Right. Yeah. So tell me about the experience. Tell me about you going to see Godzilla. Were you nervous? Because this is sort of like your thing. This is sort of like your banquet.
I wasn't particularly nervous. I was more just curious as to how they were going to approach it. Because I mean, there's been so many different interpretations of the monster over the past 60 years. There's been versions where he's a dinosaur that was made through atomic energy, but then there's been versions in which Godzilla's actually the angered collective souls of Japanese soldiers that died in World War II. I mean, which one was that? A ton of different versions.
Which one was that? So I think the first one you're referring to was in 1998 with Matthew Broderick, right?
No.
Where he's more of a dinosaur.
The first one I'm talking about is like the traditional origin from the 54 and all the other films. But there was one version, I think it was from the 2002 film called Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All-Out Attack. That was the actual name of the film.
This is not an American film.
This was not an American film.
Yeah.
It was a Japanese one, and the idea was that Godzilla was the collection of all the souls of Japanese soldiers who died during World War II that were rising up and getting revenge on Japan for abandoning them.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense.
That's the actual plot.
Wait, so so Godzilla was made up of the souls of dead Japanese soldiers. They were angry because Japan abandoned them for surrendering after we dropped the atomic bombs.
Yes.
Okay. That's one way to see it.
Yes, I know. That's why that film never got any continuity after that.
That's like 9/11 conspiracy theory shit.
Well, the idea behind that film and a bunch of others that came before and after it was that it was kind of a transition period for Toho, the creators of the Godzilla franchise. They didn't know what direction they wanted to take it, so they basically gave the license to a bunch of directors and said, "Hey, we'll give you the budget. Figure out the most popular version of Godzilla, and we'll go from there."
So Shadow Psycho is saying that Godzilla wasn't made up of the souls; he was possessed by the souls.
He was possessed by the souls. Right. Well, because that makes it better.
If he's made up of the souls. Like a Dark Souls Godzilla edition.
So they have like an exorcism of Godzilla?
Yes, they bring in a midget, and she's like, "Godzilla, go toward the light! Go toward the light, Godzilla!"
Surprisingly, it was kind of a violent film. I didn't like the suit they used.
This Tokyo is clean.
The rest of the monsters were pretty bad interpretations.
Right.
So
So that one is sort of like the Nightmare on Elm Street dream child of the series.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
If you know Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Child was sort of that awful turn that it kind of took once out of many. Once out of many. So
this one I was optimistic for because again there's a bunch of different interpretations they could work with.
Yes.
There's a bunch of material that they could really address that Roland Emmerich shit the bed over. Mm-hmm. So. I thought I was hopeful, and it turned out, for the most part, to be a really, really good film.
I actually got almost angry today. Mm-hmm. Almost angry, because I read a review on Salon, and this man or woman, I don't know who it was, genderless, this person, mm-hmm. They said the opening line. Let me see if I can pull this up. Because the opening line is ridiculous. Hold on, let me... Okay, here it is. So first of all, the very title of this review piece, written by Andrew O'Heir, Andrew O'Heir, Oheir. The title of this review is "Godzilla is the best action movie since Jaws." Okay, so many things wrong with that. First of all, Jaws wasn't an action movie. I feel like this person never saw Jaws. Okay, because Jaws was like the anti-action movie. I think I lost everybody for some reason. No, I did. I lost. Hold on. Call is reconnecting. Oh, wonderful internet. Wonderful internet. Oh, hold on, everybody. I'm like losing everybody here. Okay, hold on, everybody. I don't even know if this is even streaming out. Hey, hold on. Technical difficulty. I can't even... All right, Chad, hold on one second. All right, everybody. Hold on 1 second. I know the feed is still going. I just got that word from the guys. I'm just trying to reboot my laptop and get Skype back going up. And hopefully we will be back within 3 minutes. So hold your horses. I just made a mistake. Do that again. Oh, I can just do that. There we go. You hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me get chat back up.
Fill in.
Bob, when you're eating, you need to get a handle on that sort of thing.
Oh, it's so good.
All that eating you do. Oh, they can probably hear us. All right,
oh, that's fine.
Come on.
We can hear this wonderful, wonderful.
Hey, everybody, how's it going? Let's put that off. All right, we are back. Let me get chat back up here. Wonderful, wonderful internet and awesome technology. All right. So we were talking about Godzilla.
Dang, Chris just left.
And Chris just leaves. He did that during when we were going to start. I'm like, "Are you guys ready?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm ready." And he immediately gets up. He immediately gets up and leaves the room, which is amazing.
The timer on the oven was going off.
No, that's fine. You don't want
my roommate wasn't hearing it, so I had to fix that.
You don't want to burn down your place. So anyway,
go slap your manservant?
Yeah. So what I was saying is how long have you guys been roommates?
2 years now.
Like they can put the movie 2 Years a Slave coming to the blockbusters, to the award show next year. Anyway, so the thing about the action movie in Jaws, first of all, Jaws is not an action movie, so that pissed me off right off the bat. And for me,
no, it's not an action film.
No, it's not. No, Jaws is not an action film. That's why
it's a thriller. It's a horror thriller.
It's a drama. Jaws is a drama. It's a character drama.
That's true.
That's one of the great things about Jaws is it's not about the shark. It's about the people around it. You know, it's one of the great things. Jaws is one of my favorite movies ever. Probably, it's actually Jaws might be my number one favorite movie. Now that I think about it, but so that pissed me off. I should
watch it at some point then.
What's that?
I've never seen it.
Really? Oh, you got to see Jaws. You got to see Jaws.
It's fantastic.
It's you don't even know. It's probably Spielberg's best movie because usually he does these like big blockbuster things and whatnot, and it's really not like that at all. It's very personal and it's about the characters and you really got to see it.
I will see if I can actually get this on Netflix or something.
Probably can. So, Spy Wrecker, I don't know. You're wrong. I don't even know what's a rom-com. He's saying Jaws is a rom-com. It's a
romantic comedy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And so he says that at the beginning of this salon interview, which pisses me off. And then as you read through the interview, he starts talking about how some of the characterization was kind of flimsy. And it's like, if you ever saw Jaws, it's the complete opposite. I feel like this guy never saw Jaws. Like, he never did. Or he saw it when he was a kid and never saw it again. Because his recollection of what that movie is completely wrong. So that just made me angry. But that's what I saw today, and that's where I sort of, that's kind of where I'm coming from. Like, my foundation about hearing about this movie, I'm like, I think people are sort of giving it more credit than it's due because they're fans.
Well, I don't know. Looking at Metacritic, it has it at 62. At Rotten Tomatoes, it has it at 73. Like,
it
seems like it's tempered. Like, it's meh.
Well, yeah, because there's people saying the writing is awful, which I called out last show. It seemed the writing was going to be terrible. But I'm sorry. I'm cutting you off, Chris. I'm cutting you off. Go for it, Chris.
The main problem the film suffers from is the main the male lead, Aaron Taylor
Godzilla?
Johnson. No, the male human lead.
You mean the guy, the Heisenberg dude?
Breaking Bad?
The Breaking Bad guy?
No, that's Bryan Cranston. I'm talking about Aaron Taylor Johnson.
He's not the male. Wait. Bryan Cranston is not the male lead?
No, he's not.
Then why is he in 90% of the trailers?
I know.
Really? He's not the lead?
Misadvertise him.
Oh my god. I was going into this thinking he was the lead guy.
Yeah, me too.
No, he's not. He's only in the film for about a half hour.
So
really?
It's that kid from Home Improvement?
I guess,
god.
yeah.
I can't believe. See, that's so fucked up.
Wait.
That is so fucked up. They totally just banked on his people knowing who he is for Breaking Bad to get people into that fucking theater. I thought he was the main character.
Me too. I thought so too. And I thought the son might be in just a little bit of it. But
my god,
I'm thinking of Justin Taylor Thomas.
You know what? That's a dick move. I'm sorry. That's a bullshot. That's a bullshot if I ever saw one.
It is. But yeah, the problem is he's the main character for most of the film, and he's just so fucking bland.
Yeah.
He cannot act. I'm sorry. He was entertaining in Kick-Ass, but he was not entertaining in this film. And that's really sad.
Right.
But he's the weakest link of the film.
The main character is the weakest link. That's not a good sign, Chris.
Yeah, but I mean, the rest of the film, if you look beyond that, it's pretty good. It's got a very, very nice build-up towards the ultimate monster fight at the end.
Okay.
And it's a really fucking good fight.
I heard that they kind of... I heard two things that I've heard is that they kind of pull back a little bit, so it's not just monster all the time. Like, they do, they are a little tempered in that. And then one thing that in his review that I dislike because he mischaracterizes Jaws, which pisses me off. But one thing he did say was that the action sequences were done well in that they weren't just fast cuts where you couldn't even tell what was going on. They were actually choreographed.
Yeah, they were every action sequence not only felt great, it looked like it had a lot of weight, as in it felt realistic.
Okay, yeah. That's important.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job showing off scale, just incredible set pieces at times. And
one thing I really, looking at it from a special effects standpoint, visual effects standpoint, I'm glad they finally got it, or either got it, or they now have the technical prowess to do it cheaply and well. That when you pulverize buildings, there's a lot of dust and a lot of concrete dust, and they really, at least what I saw in the trailers, it looks like they showed that believably.
They do it a lot.
Whereas in other movies, like people like they crush a building and it falls down like a Lego set, which is not how buildings fall. Like they pulverize in like smoke. They sort of disappear in a smoke in all that pulverized concrete, and they showed that pretty well.
So let me ask the question, which is a weird comparison that came in my head, but it makes sense to me: Pacific Rim or Godzilla?
Oh, it's a good question.
I really like both films. I really do. But I kind of have to give it to Godzilla because I honestly think that the one really big monster fight in that film is better than most of the fights in Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim is really flashy. It has a lot of quick cuts, but the monsters look great in it. But in Godzilla, it's just it just looks so well done, and it everything has weight behind it. The monsters feel powerful. I kind of almost sort of give a shit about the human protagonist. It's good. It's really good.
All right.
I might have to actually check it out. I don't know. I thought Pacific Rim was okay. It was enjoyable. That's as much praise as I'll give it. It was enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, Pacific Rim. It's a traditional kind of kaiju film. It's big robots fighting monsters the whole time. Godzilla is more of a disaster film. You know, you get to see devastation on a huge scale. And there just happens to be a big monster fight at the end.
Right. How many monsters are there?
There are 3.
Okay.
Spoilers, God.
Yeah, you know.
Well, I won't.
Mothra shows up.
Actually, Mothra does show up in like an Easter egg cameo.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, the camera's panning through an old building, and you see this insect enclosure. And on some Scotch tape it says moth, and then somebody had written on a pen it says R.A., so it's Mothra.
Right.
I remember, was it Mothra versus Godzilla, or was it just Mothra?
There was
the original film with Mothra, where it was like
the original film was Mothra, and then there was the Shobujin.
Sure, whatever.
But there was Mothra, there was Godzilla vs. Mothra 1,
right?
There was Godzilla vs. Mothra 2, which came out in '92, and then there was a whole trilogy of rebirth of Mothra films.
Yeah, because I remember Mothra being kind of a big thing in the monster. Well, that was the whole era where Japan was going through their monster movie phase.
I'm not spoiling anything, guys.
Everyone's muting it.
Mute your thing.
Everyone's muting it.
They're all freaking out. Mothra shows up.
I'm not spoiling a goddamn thing.
I will not. Here's a spoiler. Godzilla shows up and he destroys some buildings.
I'll tell you what's really surprising about the film is that it's very truthful to the trailers. So I mean, almost every like shot you saw from the trailers, it's not bullshit. It's in there, but it's different.
What do you mean by different?
Like they'll cut out certain elements of a shot that's from the trailer,
right,
and then they'll add them back in for the final film.
Did he still have that horrible shot of giant Godzilla rising out of the ocean from what seems to be the shallows when he's like thousands of feet tall?
Yes.
Oh, that's too bad. I was hoping that was like a shot that like they just rendered it for the fuck of it. Like, oh, we need like 3 more seconds. I'll just render this bullshit that Jerry put together. All right. It's a terrible shot.
But it's
I'm glad
it's a pretty good film.
Wait, a pretty good film?
Yes.
That's it, just pretty good.
It's a fantastic Godzilla movie, but it's a pretty good film.
What, in your opinion, as a Godzilla, can I call you expert, Chris? Can I call you a Godzilla expert, Chris?
You absolutely can.
Are you ready to carry the weight?
Okay.
The weight of being a Godzilla expert on your shoulders? We can call you. We can start calling you our resident Godzilla expert.
I should make that my title on the site.
You should. If you're willing to carry
video feature producer Godzilla expert.
If you're willing to carry that weight around with you, that on your shoulders, we can do that. If you said it's pretty good,
yeah.
What, as a Godzilla expert, what would you have liked to see?
What I have liked to see, well, honestly, more Godzilla, because this is a Godzilla film, but at times he feels like a tertiary or secondary character. Mm-hmm. Because Godzilla does show up quite a bit of the film, but he doesn't show up nearly as much as I want.
Okay.
That being said, when he shows up, it's a fucking epic moment.
Right.
Like I don't think you see Godzilla for like at least the first 45 minutes of the film.
Oh, wow.
You see glimpses, but you don't see like the whole of him.
Right.
But when you see the whole of him, it's just like one camera shot that just pans to him, and he does the signature yell, and it's a fucking epic moment.
Right.
It's great.
Oh god! In my head, I just replaced every time he said Godzilla with a giant black cock. You don't see much of it.
You don't see much of the giant black cock.
You just see glimpses of it. But when you see it, it's epic.
And it gives out this giant roar.
You see it
following you the entire time.
Yes.
Ma'am, the call from the cock is coming from inside the house.
Oh, God!
Oh.
Yeah, you don't want to expose the you lose the majesty of the giant cock if you show it too much.
Right.
It needs to be concealed, at least, part.
Backstory to Godzilla, because in the opening credit sequence, they're kind of... You remember Black Ops 1, Goody?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I do.
Okay.
But...
Yes. You know how they did the intros to the levels and in the cinematics where they were blocking out just lines of text with, black marker?
Yes, yeah.
It's kind of like that. They're blocking out information. But if you pay attention and go frame by frame, they're telling a story. And I want to know what's going on in that backstory. And they never really address it.
Right. I
mean, all you really get from the film is what about Godzilla is what you're told by Ken Watanabe's character, Daisuke Serizawa. Which, having Serizawa in the film... That's a fantastic tribute to the original movie.
Is his name Daisuke?
No,
Daisuke.
Daisuke.
Okay.
Daisuke Serizawa.
One's a name and one means I really like.
No, Daisuke Serizawa in the original film was the mad scientist that created the weapon that killed the first Godzilla.
Oh, right. The thing with the water.
The oxygen destroyer.
Yeah.
And but what he did to prevent the world from, getting a hold of his experiment, he destroyed all his research and then he killed himself with Godzilla.
Right.
So he sacrificed his life. But in this, they bring back the character in the form of Ken Watanabe researching Godzilla the entire time. And it's kind of interesting to see him switch out with another character from the first film, Dr. Yamane. So... I guess the only other thing I would really want from the film is more of the characters from the Japanese films. Because the films that were made between 1985 and 1995, they had their own continuity, and it had the longest running continuity, and they had a bunch of reoccurring characters. So to see Major Goto or Miki Sagusa or... a bunch of different characters, Professor Hayashida, to come back. I'd really like to see that.
I don't know who any of these people are.
Of course you would.
Yeah.
Because you're not a Godzilla expert.
I'm not a Godzilla expert. I'm not.
This is why we have you.
So we have you.
That's what I'm here for.
This is it.
I only serve a purpose maybe once every 4 years, but hey.
I think,
Is there one every 4 years?
No.
Well, they're already talking about greenlighting a sequel.
No, there's definitely going to be a sequel. And I think the thing is they don't show a lot now because in the next movie you'll probably see a lot more of Godzilla at that point.
Yeah.
You'll see his giant dick.
You see his giant dick. So, yeah, that's a good question, Bob. You raise an interesting point. Mr. Resident Godzilla expert, how does he procreate? Is there Godzilla sex?
Was it the 98 version? He was female.
Well, that wasn't Godzilla.
That was not a Godzilla.
That was not Godzilla.
What was that?
That was a creature which Sony Pictures created, which Toho eventually called Zilla instead of Godzilla.
Right.
And in fact, in the 2004 film, Godzilla fights Zilla, and it's a 20-second fight.
In 1998, that was actually a manifestation of Matthew Broderick's shame. Destroying New York City is what that was.
Well, no, it's more Roland Emmerich. I think I almost want to say that Matthew Broderick, whose acting career was shattered by that film.
Yes,
I want to say that he was a victim of circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
That he signed on for a film and didn't read the script.
Maybe. Well,
that may have been what happened to Jean Reno and everybody else that was damaged by that film.
He should have did that movie as Ferris Bueller. Like, once he got in and started reading the lines, he should have said, fuck
Isn't
it.
he always Ferris Bueller?
It kind of is, yeah.
It doesn't matter what he's in. He's essentially Ferris Bueller, whether he's 10 years older or 40 years older.
It's because he still looks like he's, like, 18 years old.
Yeah.
And the last movie I saw him in was that movie... What was it called? It was called, like, HD Tape, or... It was such a hipster, indie, piece of shit film in, like, 1990, like 1999 or 2000, 2001, around there. What was it called?
The last thing I saw him in was 2 years ago in an episode of Louie.
What's Louie? I don't even know what Louie is.
It's a TV show.
Yeah, it's a TV show. It's really good.
I wouldn't know.
It's a comedy show, right?
I wouldn't know what that is.
It's kind of a satirical real life take on the life of a comedian named Louis. Goddamn, I can't remember his last name.
No, I don't watch television, so I don't know.
But either way, it's on FX, and it's a pretty decent show. I mean, it's got some, like happenstance, slightly dramatic comedy, and then it's got some like really deep moments to it.
Oh. Does Matthew Broderick
Louis C.K. Louis C.K. I'm sorry.
It's Louis. Okay. Wow.
Oh yeah, Louis C.K. That makes sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that does make sense.
He's entertaining.
Yeah. All right.
So we're gonna talk about video games.
Let's talk about video games. Bob is very
Jonesing, man.
Very excited to talk about video games, but it's almost 9:00.
That's okay. I can get a refresher.
So we should do our little. Let me see. I'm not even paying attention. What time it is? Let's see. This is the. There we go. All right. So we'll be right back in about 5 minutes. Use this time to refresh your glasses. You're watching Cocktail Time live here at 4PlayerNetwork.com. We'll be right back. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Cocktail Time Live here at 4-Player Network. That's all Tara's fault, by the way.
Oh, yeah. She posted it on
So you know.
Facebook.
I want to thank everybody.
It looks so big on you.
I want to thank everybody for watching Cocktail Time Live tonight. Especially thanks to our subscribers, people like Victor Zunas, people like Zarls, people like Reborn Revolution, people like Self Torment. Subscribers really help us keep the lights on and the doors open here at 4-Player Network. If you do like what we do, we ask that you think about subscribing. You can do so on Twitch TV. It's $4.99 a month, and for that you get no ads on our broadcast, no ads on our website. You get exclusive content like our top fives and our dinner times. You get early access to our video reviews. And you can get chosen for Chatter of the Month. And if you get chosen as Chatter of the Month, we will play the games of your choice that entire month and then do a podcast for you or with you. But definitely thanks to everybody who watches us live. I do appreciate it. It's so nice to see you all. All right. So we got to talk about some video games, right?
Yeah.
I guess.
All right, Bob, why don't you go first, because you have been chomping at the bit for quite a while. And you actually talked about this on Twitter, this game you've been playing, and I'd never even heard of it.
I didn't either. Like I said, I just heard about it maybe 4 hours ago.
All right, so go for it. What's the game?
So the game's called Factorio. It's by a small team of developers in Prague. I've never heard of them. Never heard of the game. If you just Google Factorio, that's Factorio, as in factory, Factorio. Mm-hmm. You'll find it. It's really easy to find it. And the game reminds me. I want to say it's like. Aesthetically, visually, it's like Fallout meets Command and Conquer.
So is it? My question is then: is it a sort of an isometric?
Yes,
so
it's
you mean
isometric.
Original Fallout type of thing?
Yeah, where it's isometric, but there's 3D models, but they're rendered down into a sprite, a 2D sprite.
Okay, yeah, I get you.
And you play as a character. You play as some dude person that lands on an alien planet. Crash lands on an alien planet and needs to be able to survive. It's kind of like a little survival type game, but it's more. There's no emphasis on like finding food and kind of that shit. It's just survival, as in that there's alien alien life that will come and kill you, and they're attracted to different things. Like if you have lights, they'll come for the lights. If you have radar towers, they'll come for the radar towers. Great, what the fuck is Tara listening?
That's an old picture. We've seen that picture before. That's when you were playing Rapella, the
that was the one I was playing Rapala.
Rapala
for Connect.
Rapala for Connect.
But regardless, it's almost like an RTS, but it's a crafting RTS.
Okay,
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's almost like Minecraft meets Command and Conquer almost. It's really weird. It's hard to describe. So you wander around. There's a bunch of resources on the ground. You'll see some like ore patches, which is why I have the analogy to Command and Conquer, which has the whole Tiberian patches. You'll see these Tiberian fields. You'll see coal fields. You'll see copper fields. You'll see iron fields. Mm-hmm. And what you can do is you can go over there and mine them. You can you can go destroy a tree, craft a pickaxe or an axe, and be able to mine these resources from there. And you can get raw resources. And when you have the raw resources, you can refine them by creating furnaces and whatnot. And these are little furnaces you'll place into the world. And you need to put fuel into these furnaces. Mm-hmm. And as there's like recipes that require several layers of refinement in order to get to the highest level recipe type stuff. Like if you want to create like certain machines require a lot more, like a lot of subcomponents, mm-hmm. but it's never an inconvenience for creating a machine or creating some kind of crafting recipe, because if you just say, I want to create this thing, and it has a bunch of subcomponents, it'll automatically make all of them for you.
So here's a quick question. So the crafting, do you have to make, I think factory, right? I think, is there multiple machines in a line? Or is it...
it gets there. So as you get more and more complex, what you can do is this game is all about automation.
Mm-hmm.
So as you kind of get build up to this base level, you can do it all by yourself. You can do it entirely by yourself. You don't have to use automation whatsoever. But as you decide to get more complex, you can actually start to have machines harvest resources for you. So you can have these big machines that just sit on a resource patch and spit out the ore from the raw mineral, and it'll just spit out the ore into one tile, like in front of it, and just until the tile's full, and eventually it'll stop. But what you can do is then you can create a conveyor belt under there, and it'll start moving this ore along the conveyor belt, and you can create these machines that will grab what's on the conveyor belt and move it to what's directly behind it.
Right.
And this can be anything. Like if you're mining like iron, then it'll grab the iron ore and put it into a furnace. But that furnace, you might have to keep stocking with coal. But that's okay, because you can just go to a coal patch, have something that's mining the coal, bring it over to a conveyor belt that's conveying the coal over to the machine, and have another little machine that's pulling the coal off of the conveyor belt and fueling the furnace.
Let's see. So
as that, you're producing the iron ore into iron plates,
right.
And this iron plates can be pulled off of the furnace into another conveyor belt that pulls the plates into a factory that you set to create gears.
You know
that
what?
Factory creates gears, and that can be pulled off into another conveyor belt, which goes into another factory that creates another thing, and it creates another thing. It's insane.
You know what I want?
Awesome.
I want this as a crafting component in an MMO. Is what I kind of want.
It's like it's a big schematic though.
Yeah,
you build these like little conveyor belts. So there's things like you can go under. They can have conveyor belts that go under the ground and back up, so you can create these kind of interwoven kind of circuits. And there's power grids and everything. You can have you can create steam generators. They'll generate electricity based on steam. And you'll have to have a water source. You can pump water in. You have to have these furnaces that'll heat the water into a steam engine, and that'll generate electricity for you. And you have these power poles that you need to set in at specific distances in order to connect them together, and they'll power anything around them. So there's all these machines that'll run off of coal, there's machines that'll run off of power, and there's no punishment for being like, you know what, I'm going to destroy this entire area and rebuild. Like, you just pull it up. You don't lose anything. Nice. You can just pull up the machines as you want to. You'll just they'll go pop right back into your inventory.
You know, I'm looking at the website right now, and you're right. It's like when you say isometric, it's not. I mean, you're right. It's like Command and Conquer isometric. Yeah. It's like that far away. That's how far away you are.
And you can zoom in and zoom out too.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah,
yeah. You can zoom way in. You can zoom way out.
I'm really surprised by the amount of animations going on screen.
Yeah, that's why I'm surprised. I've never fucking heard of this game.
Yeah.
It's pretty well polished. It's in an alpha right now. I've kind of been playing the alpha a little bit, and it's really good. Like I was saying before cocktail time, I started playing it, and then I looked up the clock and I was like, oh fuck, it's like 2 hours later.
Right.
It's one of those games where it'll suck you in. There's a lot of depth to it, and it's really cool. And you can kind of start to when you start having an objective, being like, all right, I want to be able to create lots of these things. You can automate the entire process. There's trains. You can have different settlements like all across the map, and have trains quickly transporting goods between settlement to settlement. You can specialize settlements, be like, this one's going to produce a bunch of iron shit, it's going to produce all these components.
I'm watching
throw it on this train, it's going to go over here, and that's all automated.
I'm watching it right now, and it's mesmerizing when it's all working at the same time. It's kind of amazing to watch all this stuff happening.
It's really
this is like the game of industry. I want to be like the guy from There Will Be Blood. I drink your milkshake. There should be a multiplayer game where you can do that sort of thing. And you can do that, and you can like be multiplayer, and I can like pull your resources in, and I can in chat and be like, I drink your milkshake. That would be awesome.
It's a phenomenal game. I'm surprised. I've never heard of this fucking game because it's so far along and so polished. And I think they might have been trying to get greenlit on Steam. I'm not sure if they're greenlit yet.
Oh, they should be.
But
they should be.
This thing is fucking great. Like you can build like vehicles.
Yeah. So you can build a factory that can build vehicles, that can move stuff to another factory that takes that stuff and builds more stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I like this. Everyone should greenlight this right now. Everyone go to the Steam greenlight page. Put that shit in the chat. And I want everyone to vote this thing right now to get this thing up there, because this is an amazing idea. These are the types of fresh ideas that we as gamers long for and say that we want.
I feel like if I play this, I want some kind of industrial music from a Looney Tunes cartoon or something.
There is a dubstep version of the Muppet song, the Muppet theme song. That's actually pretty good.
Yes,
that's very cool. So real quick, maybe you said it and I missed it, but resources. How does resources work?
Well, you mine resources.
Are you limited?
Have machines that mine it for you.
But I mean, are they limited? Are they in certain areas? Can you deplete resources in one area, then have to go find new ones?
Yes.
And then how do you win? What's the win condition for this sort of stuff?
It depends on the scenario you're playing. I mean, there's different scenarios that will require you to be able to build a certain thing. Like you have to be able to get to the point where you're going to be able to be able to produce a specific object.
Right.
Like they're able to produce a vehicle in order to get to a next settlement.
I see.
And I had to create a vehicle, but it required researching a bunch of upgrades. And in order to research, I needed to create research laboratories. Uh-huh. And these research laboratories required these research components. And I could create them all by hand, but it would take fucking forever if I just sat there creating by hand. So I had to create these factories that produced these research components for me. And eventually, as you research enough, like the researching allows you to unlock different technology trees. Like you'll be able to create new things, or your guns will become more effective against the local flora and whatnot, flora and fauna. But it's like it's kind of this. The way they have it staggered, at least going through the campaign, is it's basically teaching you core mechanics as you go through. Like, all right, build this. But in order to get to this, you're going to have to go through all these other things that you need to learn in order to really progress and master the game. Mm. Like it's really well done. Like, really fucking awesome.
Right.
It's addictive. It's a lot of fun to play with.
I'm going to try this. And the alpha is $13.50.
Yep. Well, I think it's with the exchange rate now, it's more like $14.
$14. Okay.
Yeah. So that's for go download the demo. Download the demo and play it. If you like it, go buy the alpha. That's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
I played the demo, then I went straight to the alpha and be like, okay, I gotta fucking play this.
Awesome. No, I like it. I like that a lot. That's fantastic.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. The music's pretty good. It's really it's pretty atmospheric. It's just such a weird combination of things that you kind of wonder, like, why wasn't there a game like this before? This is a really good combination of shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not too sure. I have no idea why.
Talking about this.
I don't know. Like, why isn't anyone else talking about this game? This is fucking amazing.
That is pretty amazing, man.
And of course, awesome. Tara's posting wonderful pictures.
Wonderful pictures of you. That's the problem when you're with someone for so long, is that they begin to build up a bank. Like she's right now, she's diving into her sort of Scrooge McDuck vault of embarrassing Bob pictures and just swimming around.
Yeah, I'm incredibly photogenic
and throwing them around.
And the way that I look like a complete idiot in every picture that's taken of me.
It's called lovingly awkward, Bob. Is how we call it.
I guess if you want to put it that way.
Yes, lovingly awkward. I get that too. All right. Anything else, Bob, on your end?
The only other game I played a little bit with was Dust and Elysian Tale, but I didn't play enough of it.
Yeah,
I just started it, and then I realized that the delay between because I had the 360 hooked up to my computer for the cap card, and the delay was was too big for me to be able to do a lot of the counters that they were requiring you to do. So I just got frustrated and stopped playing.
Oh, right.
Well, if you would just play it on your 360, believe me, it is a really fucking good game with a great combat system.
Yeah, I'll probably end up just playing on my TV. I've been trying to go through a bunch of different Metroidvanias and kind of
Steal ideas.
Well, I mean, I steal ideas. Inspiration, and be able to tell, like, what people do well, and see, kind of learn from their mistakes and learn from what they do well, and kind of try to figure out and plan accordingly and whatnot. I think I don't know. Right this week we did a fucking ton of really good design on our game. I'm super pumped for it. And it's kind of, it's a hive mind kind of thing where we got 4 people who are designing this game. It's not just the brainchild of one person. It's kind of a everybody's baby at this point. We have a little bit of everyone going in there, and it's awesome.
It's kind of funny how sometimes we'll have, I don't want to call them dry spells, but we never have a dry spell where we have maybe a week where nothing's really landing, and we're just sort of throwing out ideas, and everyone's like, I don't know. And then someone will say something kind of offhandedly, or the conversation will just naturally evolve to something that's kind of amazing, and at the same time we sort of click into it all at the same time. Like, oh my God, that's an amazing thing. We're suddenly talking about this amazing thing. How did that kind of happen? And sometimes one person says something or whatnot, and it sort of leads us to this sort of thing. So it's kind of neat. It's kind of neat to watch that happen.
Yeah, like this week, I was feeling kind of bummed that I was making this game because I'll never get to experience it as a new player.
That's good. That's a good sign.
Yeah, it's like, fuck, I want to play this game. God damn it.
It's a good sign.
Why the hell do I have to make it?
I know, poor Bob.
Just finish it and then have head trauma.
I know. I was thinking the plan was also I was gonna finish it and then just smoke a ton of pot and then play it.
So you forget things.
Yeah. I'm like, this is awesome.
Who did this? I'm gonna look it up. Oh, it's me.
Well, you do live in California. It shouldn't be too hard to get a prescription for it.
Yeah. Just come to Seattle, and we'll just go to the store. That's how easy it is here. Going to be in July anyway. So. All right, Chris Davis, what have you been playing? Let's get this out of the way really fast. We're not talking about Payday, okay? I don't care how much DLC they put out over since last week.
We haven't been playing Mass Effect 3.
We're not talking about Mass Effect 3.
No.
We know that. No Civ 5. So what have you been playing besides those?
Really, only just Payday 2.
God damn it.
Now, that'll change next week because we start getting a bunch of new games.
So here's one thing we can talk about. It's not something I played. Mm-hmm. I watched a whole bunch of Watch Dogs today.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys see it?
No.
So a whole bunch of Watch Dogs footage got leaked today.
I saw about 5 minutes, yeah.
On the old gaff. And I've been sort of down on the game. It's no secret. I don't think I've said Brad is like, oh, Joe thinks it's going to be the worst game ever. I never said that. I just thought it was just not going to be as good as people thought it was going to be.
It was like another Assassin's Creed type.
It's kind of, whatever. But I saw some things today that I kind of liked, that I thought were kind of interesting. So we all know what's come out recently is that there's a morality system, and I'm sure it's not too deep.
Oh, Jesus.
I know, but the difference, so in the morality system, if you do good things, people like you. If you steal a car, like, people won't call the police on you. You know what I mean? But if you're a bad person, people don't like you. You steal a car, and somebody might call the police. But here's the thing that's kind of cool, actually, and I saw this happen today in the leaked footage, is that if you do something wrong, and someone calls the police, an NPC nearby is really calling the fucking police. Like,
they are,
and there'll be a little thing that pops up, and you can go over to them and pull a gun on them before they finish the call, or kill them or whatever.
Can you hack their phone?
I don't know. Well, by that point, maybe you can. But if you
disconnect the call,
but if you go over there and shoot them before they finish making the call, or get them to drop the phone or something, the call isn't made, and the police never come. So it's not like, sometimes in Grand Theft Auto, if someone sees it, like, they magically the police are alerted. There's this sort of magical psychic thing that happens. In Watch Dogs, like, an NPC physically does it, and if you stop them, the call doesn't get made, and that's pretty cool. And I'm wondering if, like, based on your morality system, if you're really a bad guy, maybe then like 3 NPCs will make the call, or 4, like more than one NPC will do it to make it more difficult. But I think it's a really cool system. I think that's really neat. I like that better than the psychic police awareness thing that you've seen in other games. The other thing that I saw that's really interesting is like there's like mini games in the world.
They're called digital trips.
Yeah, and it's like it reminds me of Saints Row 4. Like there's a horde game in Watch Dogs where you kind of hack in whatever, and then it's all 8-bit, and then excuse me. And then all these like 8-bit flying monsters will come after you in waves, and it's like wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, but it's all like multi-bright colored, wavy 8-bit sort of thing, and it reminds me, like I said, of something you would see in a Saints Row game.
Well, the best part of that little game there is that's happening to your character, but the rest of the world is going on as it normally does.
Yeah, they don't react to it.
And people are commenting on you. They're like, "Oh, really? That guy is I didn't see that. Wasted out of his mind."
Oh, I didn't see that. But I mean,
they're doing that. You just got to listen.
I'm surprised at sort of the lightheartedness they've added into the game. So that combined with the the whole actual NPC calling the police, and I think there's a chess mini game. And I don't recall any, besides chess games, any computer video game where there was a chess mini game. There's always like poker or something like that. But chess is kind of cool. Like I could sit there and play chess and Watch Dogs for a few hours. So there's there's a lot of little things, a lot of little details that I didn't really expect to be in this game that I'm surprised they didn't highlight. Like they never highlighted any of this stuff. It's always been like, "You're a bad hacker, man. Here you are in the same block. You're doing bad hacker things. They did something horrible to your family, which we never really explained, but now you're angry, and you're a bad hacker, man." And that's been every trailer has been just kind of fucking boring. Well, because they never talked about this cool sort of quirky stuff they've been doing.
Well, going back to the digital trips, have you been really paying attention to all that much what they've been talking about the past few months? Because they introduced the digital trips like 2 months ago.
I missed that. I totally missed that.
Yeah, the first they showed off 2 of them. They were playable to the press. One was where you are sent to like a demonic version of Chicago, like a hellish version, and you have to run over demons.
See, I didn't know they had this shit in the game. That's so weird to me.
And then the other one has you taking control of a giant mechanical spider and destroying the cops and doing as much damage as you can in the environment.
Let me tell you something. I pay attention to shit, okay? I'm on Twitter all day long. Even if I'm working from home, I have Twitter going. If I'm at work, I look at my phone all the time. What's going on Twitter? I never saw any of this shit. And I don't think, if I didn't see it, then people who are not as connected as I am certainly didn't see it.
This was a major press event. The press got to play for like 5 hours.
No, if this must have been buried, inside of somebody's
It was
thing.
Like early April. It happened. Believe me. Just Google.
Chat, I want chat to tell me right now. In chat, how many of you knew that you get to play as a giant mechanical spider in Watch Dogs and destroy the city? How many of you knew that happened? I know there's a delay. It's going to take some time for it to come through. But how many of you actually knew that happened? Because I had no idea. For me, this entire time, all I've been seeing was this ultra-serious game about a hacker and people are doing your data, and I'm going to suck Edward Snowden's dick until he blows his snowed in all over my face, and yeah, that's what this is about. And that's all I've seen about this fucking game.
See, Victus is confirming it.
I didn't know. I knew it's about 50-50. It's about 50-50.
Oh no, I would not say it's about 50-50. I'd say it's more like 1 of 4 maybe knew about it.
Yeah, like 1 of 4 people knew about it.
Moose Fart.
Yeah, people don't know.
Jeff knew.
But Jeff doesn't count.
When you were talking about the NPC calling the cops,
right?
That's actually not a new mechanic.
No,
that was from
Ultima Online.
That's from Metal Gear Solid had that sort of thing.
Actually, I was going to say there was a recent game that actually featured that.
I mean, I'm talking like 1997.
Yeah. Well, Metal Gear.
And then 96.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
talking about specifically calling the cops from an
which game are you talking about? Just tell me which game it is.
Oh, just a little game called Payday 2.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, in Ultima Online, the NPCs, whenever they saw you committing a crime, they would call the guards.
Oh, yeah. But I mean...
And if you had just nothing but players around and you committed a crime and nobody called the guards, they wouldn't come.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying I'm glad to see that sort of thing. Like, Metal Gear Solid, I think it was 2 or 3, you could actually shoot the soldier's radio. And if you shot their radio... Two. Yeah, if you shot their radio, they couldn't call for help. So that was one way to do around it. So I'm just saying I'm happy they're doing something like that rather than these psychic cops and just all of a sudden know sort of thing. I like that. I like they're doing details like that. I like the fact that they have this sort of weird Saints Row stuff going on. I like the fact that I can play chess in this game. So what I'm saying is I think there's going to be a lot more redeeming qualities than I think I was giving it credit for because I just didn't know. And I'm kind of liking what I see, and I'm getting a little more excited for this game.
Well, I'm glad because it comes out in 2 weeks, and we need somebody else besides me to play it.
Oh no, I'm definitely if I can afford it, I'll definitely play it. But you're gonna be on the Xbox One, I'll be on the PS4. So, speaking of which, how about those NPDs? Man, Jesus,
it's been interesting.
Oh yeah, and the Xbox without a Kinect.
So let's talk. Let's do this. Let's we're getting toward the tail end. We got another over a half hour, but a couple of things about this whole thing. Mm-hmm. 2 things. First of all, we all said when March NPDs came out and PlayStation 4 beat Microsoft Xbox One, even with Titanfall, which all of the gaming press was sucking the cock of that game, even us. I mean, I loved it. And then I played it, and it was good for a while, but I kind of got bored of it kind of quickly, unfortunately, because I needed more content. But we all know the history of how that game was put together, and that game almost didn't happen. So there's a reason that it was sort of lacking content. But I mean, with the amount of oral satisfaction everyone gave that game before it came out, and they still couldn't make it. We were saying on the show, and they're going to have to do something. They need to do something. They need to do something to get these sales up, and it was announced this week that there will be a connectless SKU, a disconnected SKU for the Xbox One for $399, reaching at least price parity with a PlayStation 4, available June 9th. One thing that's really interesting though is Microsoft has been making a series of announcements this week. There's been that. There was the announcement of Halo 5. Mm-hmm. And then there was the announcement of the Halo Master Chief, or as I call it, the Remastered Chief Edition. Which is... Yes, you like that?
That's going to become a thing, isn't it?
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. It will.
Which is going to be all the games 1 through 4, except for ODST and Reach, remastered for the Xbox One. That was announced this week. And here's my thing. One of 2 things is happening right now, if not both. Number one, the NPDs for April had Xbox One at 115,000. That's it. Actually, NPDs weren't really good for anybody. I mean, PS4 did double that, but that still puts them at below 300,000. So no one bought a lot of consoles in April. But Xbox One, 115, which is really kind of abysmal at this point.
It's better than fucking, at one point, fucking the Wii U got down to less than 50,000 units.
No, I know. But here's the thing. I think number one, what Microsoft is trying to do with all these announcements is they do not want to be below 100K in May. And they can be dangerously... There's a possibility they will be, because right now everyone is going to wait. No one's going to buy Xbox One now until they can get $100 cheaper. So they're trying to save May because they don't want to go into E3 with a month from the NPDs being below 100K, because that's just a bad place to be, and the investors will be really pissed. Number two, like, all of these really big announcements, these are like E3 caliber announcements, okay?
Yeah.
So either A, like, I don't know what they're going to talk about at E3, or B, they're going to have an amazing E3.
See, that's the thing.
So I don't, you know.
Back in January,
like I think there's a real quick. I'm sorry. There's a real possibility Microsoft might blow the doors off the building at E3 and really have an awesome conference at E3.
Mm-hmm.
So, go ahead.
So, I was going to say. So back in January, NeoGAF, they're well known for their leaks and their hyperbole.
Well, that's where I saw Watch Dogs today.
Yeah, the hyperbole.
Yeah. The hyperbole.
Listen, assholes! I made a mistake, and everyone on the fucking chat was talking about like it's an 80s movies.
Hey,
they're like,
Joseph, I forgive you.
Dolph
Lundgren
in
Premise. Okay,
yeah.
We all get one.
Well,
get one.
No, I actually have two. I'll admit this. For years and years and years, instead of saying epitome, I said epitome. Because I thought, and you know why I said epitome?
Because it's spelled like that.
Well, no, not only because it makes sense. Because I thought, well, a tome, it's a book, all right? And so an epitome would be, what if you wrote a book about something and it was the ultimate book of that thing? It would be the epitome of that thing.
It's like the epic tome.
Yeah, like the epic tome, but it would be the epitome. Yep. So to me, in my stupid, fucked up brain, epitomes totally made sense, but no, it's actually epitome. And someone corrected me when I was like 28. I was like, thank you. I've only been making a fool of myself for 18 years. Anyway, go on.
Okay, so there back in January, NeoGAF is known for their leaks and shit. And for the longest time, there's been a guy named Crazy Buttocks on a Train, otherwise known as Seaboat.
Oh, I remember Seaboat. Yeah. He's banned now, by the way.
Yeah, he's banned now. But after he was banned, a new account showed up, and it hasn't showed up since January. It's a guy named NT Kernel, NTKRNL, and he made a whole bunch of insider news proclamations / leaks, whatever. Mm-hmm. And everybody called him out on his bullshit.
Well, do you know what
but then things started to turn out correctly.
Oh, yeah.
Well, do you know what the name refers to?
Net kernel?
No. I'm assuming. Do you know what a kernel spelled with a K is?
Yeah, it's a bit of data.
Not quite. It's the core of an operating system.
Yeah.
It's the NT kernel is basically referring to Windows NT's core operating system.
Oh.
Yeah, like that is an old fucking reference to Windows NT back when they rewrote the core operating system, the core kernels. Like Linux kernels are like they are what's in the center of the operating system. Like you don't have anything lower than that. Like that is it. An NT kernel refers to something that's the core of a Windows NT system. And that's someone. I mean, obviously, anybody that worked with NT back in the day would know that. But I wouldn't be surprised if someone who was a Microsoft employee would choose that name because they would be very familiar with that.
Yeah. No, that's actually really good. Yeah.
So this guy, his predictions, if you will, have started coming true. He broke the background behind Sunset Overdrive, what the overall plot is and how it plays. Mm-hmm. He broke the story about the Halo collection. And so far, his things have one by one starting to look in that direction. He also talked about the Titanfall-themed Xbox One, which eventually didn't come to consumers. So... If his predictions from NeoGAF back in January are any indication,
right?
it's going to be a goddamn good E3.
So can you give me some of his predictions?
Well, he predicted a $399 Xbox One.
We have that already.
Yeah.
Done.
Okay. He predicted a Halo 2 anniversary with a beta for Halo 5.
Well, that's sort of like...
Which, that's sort of coming true.
Yeah.
He predicted Sunset Overdrive.
Mm-hmm.
So here are the things that haven't come true so far. First off, a white X-Bone, because why not?
Sure.
He's saying that Quantum Break will arrive this holiday. Sunset Overdrive will arrive this fall.
Mm-hmm.
Fable Legends is next summer.
Mm-hmm.
Gears of War 4 will take about 2.5 years to develop from the previous announcement. So 2016-ish.
They're still in prototype, I think, is what I heard.
Huh?
They're still in prototype, is what I heard.
Yeah.
No, it's hard to predict development times. I wouldn't really put too much weight on that.
He's saying Crackdown 3 will arrive in 2016.
Crackdown 3 is something so are we talking about Microsoft exclusives or just whatever?
Like exclusives for Microsoft.
Man, I would love a new Crackdown game.
Yeah, I really didn't like 2, but 1 was pretty
No,
decent.
it's well known 2 was bullshit. 2 don't even count 2.
Fucking traveling agility orbs was the biggest bane of that goddamn game.
What? Oh, yeah. So Crackdown, the original Crackdown, if people, old school 4-player people remember when we did our marathon week, and David and I played, we finished Crackdown in one sitting together, doing co-op.
Wow.
It was 14 and a half hours. We started in the morning and we finished late at night.
Jeez.
We started Crackdown together and we just finished it together in one sitting. And that was the thing. That was the marathon. Everyone on the site had to sit down and finish a game from beginning to end in one sitting without stopping. And
was this the one that Nick did the Zelda?
Yeah, Nick did Zelda 2, right? No.
Link to the Past?
Yeah, Nick did Link to the Past in one sitting.
Yeah.
And David and I did Crackdown in one sitting. I don't remember what everyone else did, but yeah.
That was before I started broadcasting, so I just
you didn't get sucked into that. This is way before your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know about 4-player until about 2011, so I'm weird like that.
We met I met you first at E3. We met
E3 2011.
Yeah, and you were for a different site, and we were all hanging out. So,
yeah, y'all allowed me to stick around for a little bit. I appreciate that.
You're awesome dude. All right. So we were talking about E3. Any other?
He also suggested a Project Nagano from Platinum.
Mm-hmm.
For March 2016-ish.
Could that possibly be the Japanese-only Platinum game that they were talking about? There was some word about a high-end Japanese studio doing a Japan-exclusive game for the Xbox One.
That's a possibility, yeah.
No. Which they wouldn't.
Nagano is a prefecture.
They wouldn't show that at E3. They would show that at TGS, if anything.
I think it'd probably be better to do it E3 because that's a better stage.
Yeah,
honestly.
But if it's an Asian market, why would they do it?
Oh, no.
All right, we should be back. But as you know, there's a giant reorg going on. Aaron Greenberg just got a new title. He's like the global marketing strategist person or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So so we'll see. But yeah,
the one thing he was wrong about was Phil Spencer not getting the job.
You can't, like I said, in business situations, things are fluid, and they're always fluid into the last minute. And he might have been right at the time, but then things changed. So you got to keep that in mind. I think people might think I've been hard on Xbox and Microsoft lately, and maybe I have been a little bit. Just because of the whole DRM thing, and I think their vision was clouded, and I think they weren't going in the right direction. But I think Phil Spencer is really great for that brand, and really great for that console. And if anything is going to get them out of the hole they're in right now, and it's so early, don't forget, PS3 was in a hole like this for a long time. PS3 never overtook Xbox 360 in North America. They did eventually worldwide, but not in North America. And they can turn things around and stuff. I mean, they have to be careful because a parity differentiation is a difficult thing, because when you buy a console, you get the console all your friends have, so you can play together. And when all your friends buy a PlayStation 4, all your friends buy an Xbox, you're going to get that too. So they need to get a clamp on this pretty fast. And I think the person to do that, is Phil Spencer. So.
He seems to understand that marketing games versus services is the right thing to do. So
he should have been on this project from the beginning. Don Matrick, it really, I think, did a lot of damage to the Xbox brand, unfortunately.
Yeah, but he's gone now. He's leapt on to a dying publishing house.
He's in Zynga. Well, the word is that Don Matrick has a shitload of money, and he always wanted to head a game studio, and he apparently wasn't going to get that at Microsoft, so he went to who would let him lead them. People like Don Matrick and people like Jack Trent and people at that level, keep in mind, they don't have to work. Their hobby is running businesses at this point, and that's a big, here's something everyone has to remember. At the level where Don Matrick is and level where Jack Trent was and all that kind of stuff, brand loyalty doesn't mean shit. It doesn't. They don't have any brand loyalty. They'll say they do when the camera's on, but really, for them, their hobby is running a business. They could retire anytime they want, but they're going to run businesses because that's what they like to do. And it doesn't matter. Jack Trent can go from, PlayStation and do that whole thing. Everyone's like, yeah, he's for the gamers. Tomorrow, he can fucking work at Subway, and he'll be just as passionate because it's about business. The product to these guys doesn't matter. As much as they tell you it does, it really doesn't. I don't mean that as a knock against them. That's just the reality of it. That's just the reality of it. These guys don't need to work. This is their hobby. Their hobby is running businesses and gaining a profit and having power. I mean, that's what it is. That's just how. That's the game at that level. So, but anyway, I'm looking forward to this E3. It's going to be great. It's going to be so good because, man, the price parity makes me happy. You can make arguments about power all you want. The fact is that the common consumer, the consumer that doesn't really know that this box has DDR3 and this box has DDR5 and this box is 720 and this box is 1080, that shit we know, but we're a really pretty fucking small segment of the gaming population. Most of the people who buy Madden every year and Call of Duty every year don't have no fucking clue about any of that shit. I was talking to a friend of mine not too long ago, and he's a gamer type of guy. I mean, I used to play D&D with him in college and all this kind of stuff, and he's like an old school gamer, tabletop gamer and some video games and things like that. So he's a gamer, but he's not really into the hardcore video game thing like we are. And he was convinced that Xbox was the most powerful machine and was the most sold. And I said, actually, it's kind of the opposite. PlayStation actually has a leg up this year. He had no idea because he was just looking at the marketing. And, and around here in Seattle, Microsoft has stuff all over the place and all that kind of stuff. So in his mind, that was a thing. And that's how people look at it. So, I personally, I think hardcore gamers, when they talk about things like resolution and all that kind of stuff, I think they have an argument. And I won't go too into this now, but we had to talk on Hip Chat. And I think, sometimes we need to stop. I think we're too hard on gamers who worry about that shit. Because I think, in video games, this is the only industry where we give people shit for wanting more for their money. We don't give car buyers shit when they want better mileage. We don't give restaurateurs shit when they want a better tasting meal. But for some reason, when a gamer wants higher resolution on his games, we were like, oh, these fucking gamers, fuck them, fuck NeoGAF, fuck them, what do they want? It doesn't matter, 720, 1080, it doesn't fucking matter. Yeah, your car, all right, sure, it gets 100 miles a gallon, it gets 30 miles a gallon, it doesn't matter. Why do you care so much, you fucking asshole? No, it does care. Because when you spend $400 or $500 on a machine that everyone promised you was the most powerful thing out there, yeah, I think when you're only getting 720 and 30 frames per second, you have a right to be concerned about that. And, you know, it's consumer demand is what propels the market. Do you think, like, companies would actually invest money in faster processor chips, more RAM, better frame rates, higher resolution if the market didn't demand it? Fuck no. They would keep, if people kept buying it and didn't demand anything else, people would just keep churning out the same shit every fucking year. But because the market demands it, because gamers demand higher resolution, higher frame rates, better AI, better games, the market says, okay, fine, we'll put all this money in R&D to bring you what they need. That's what propels the market. That's what keeps the market from getting fucking lazy, honestly. That's what keeps innovation going. So when you have, you know, gamers on NeoGAF, which everyone derides for some fucking reason, they have, you know, yeah, there's awful people on NeoGAF. Big fucking surprise. They have 100,000 members. It's a cross-section of gamers everywhere. Yeah, there's going to be awful people in any cross-section you find. You have to deal with that shit. But when they, like, look at a game like Call of Duty Ghosts that looks like shit on next gen, let's be honest, compared to what, you know, we should be getting now, and they complain about that, they have a fucking right to complain about that. I mean, console gamers are trying to get 60 frames per second out of their machines, while PC gamers are getting over 100. I mean, the power discrepancy right now is insane, and demanding more power and demanding that, like I said, is what pushes the market to bring it to people. So I think we need to just, like, lay off on gamers who demand that a little bit. I think it's a healthy thing for the market, for consumers to demand more for their money. Because if they didn't, we wouldn't get anything for our money at all. Hallelujah.
That's more than fair.
All right, that's just me. I see this a lot on Twitter, and, you know, I see a lot. I see this disparaging of gamers from not so much developers, some developers, but a lot of games media. A lot of the professional games media who disparage gamers that just want more for their money. And this is the only fucking industry where we do that shit. And it's kind of bullshit. It's just kind of bullshit. And yeah, sometimes gamers can be awful. Some gamers can be awful. People can be awful, but there's value in people demanding value. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I think we're easily discrediting people because you get kind of weird extremes here. Obviously, there's a lot of extremes in video games just because people are passionate about it. But you'll get people demanding Nintendo do certain things. And then you get people, you know, requesting very reasonable things, and it all gets jumbled together, and it's very difficult to.
Well, you know what it is, like it's like the shit rise to the top. You know, you have somebody who goes, "Hey, you know, I just spent $500 on this machine, and I'm getting lower resolution, and it's kind of chugging in frame rate. Like, I just spent a lot of money on this." And then you have somebody else who's, like, sending death threats to the developers. And it's always the asshole who's sending death threats that gets the attention. You know what I mean? So then the person who's actually making a reasonable argument gets ignored because there's some dick being a dick, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think there was a little bit in chat, people were talking about the fact that it's like people demand better graphics, better gameplay experience, and whatnot, and that focusing too much on other graphics or like the thing is, I really don't. I wouldn't say that it's people don't really demand a lot in graphics. I think they demand a lot more in performance and in quality.
Yeah,
like you can have a game run at 60 frames a second if you I mean, it can still look really good at 60 frames a second, and not, obviously not be like complete shit resolution textures and everything. Like, engines are pretty damn well optimized at this point. They're really well optimized at this point. Like, we can make a really good looking Unity game on any console for relatively cheap in development time, as long as we kind of understand what the console requirements are.
Right.
The big problem is that a lot of these studios don't have that time.
Well, no, exactly. And actually, at this point,
No.
I mean, especially at this point in development, you have studios having to develop a game for 6 platforms. 6 platforms. PS3, PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PC, and maybe the Wii. That's insane. That's insane because all the architecture is different. Far Cry 4 was announced this week, and I'm actually really excited about Far Cry 4. I love Far Cry 3, even though I hated the protagonist. But I love Far Cry. I'm looking forward to Far Cry 4. But they're developing it for. It's a cross-gen game. It's getting made for 6 platforms, and that worries me because
I don't know if one studio is not enough to do that.
Yeah,
they're going to have to outsource it.
Yeah,
and that's probably what they do.
Probably they have to.
I imagine they're going to outsource the last gen and then just focus on the current gen.
Yeah,
which is what tends to happen most of the time with transition titles.
Yeah,
I mean, especially if you look what happened going from the last gen to the 360 and the PS3. You saw a incredible disparity, but there was a clear difference because it was completely different development houses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's one of those things where I think there's it's a scenario where there are people investing money into this business that want to make money back, and they're not passionate about it. They don't care about the artwork of it. They don't care about the quality of it. They just want to see money return. And
they're investor focused, and
they're investor focused, and that's why like time and time again you get bit in the ass by fucking AAA developers, is because that's where all that money is coming from. Yeah. Big investors, and when they say like, oh, unless it's really well managed, there's going to be overestimates, and people are going to overestimate how quickly they can get it done, and they're going to underestimate how much work there is, and they're going to be up against some really tough deadlines, and or they're just not going to throw enough money at it and be like, oh, it shouldn't cost this much to make a game. What are you talking about? And a lot of times, a lot of people who are making those decisions don't know bullshit about games. Yeah. They don't know how much they don't know shit about software development. Right. Like, it happens in every industry.
Yeah.
Like, this is now we're just seeing it more in this industry because it's becoming more prominent now. Like, it happens in every fucking industry where people will come in seeing it as being a cash cow. And like it happened back in the software industry back in the 2000s when it was doing a bubble, like everything like that, and it's just happening here now. It's a little more common now because it's such a big industry.
One thing I'm hoping for is that at least this generation is that the engines are getting a lot better, and they're getting easier to work with, and they're getting faster to work with.
The tools are definitely getting a lot better.
And I'm hoping that really helps to counteract some of this AAA development. You look at something like Unreal 4, where you can do things like lightning fast rendering, just a pop in, pop out, and you can it's just the ease of use for this kind of stuff. And I'm hoping that helps things a lot. I mean, I was at GDC, of course, and I was looking on the show floor, and they have these rigs where you can make you make your head model, you point out the animation points, and then you point that out on a person, and I can use this camera to animate lip sync, have the model lip sync my lips as I'm doing lines. You don't have to animate models lip syncing anymore because they can do it naturally. And I guess there's that big investment of doing that first. But I mean, things like that make things a lot easier. And I'm hoping that these advances in technology do counteract this, counterbalance the AAA development cost, because AAA development is not a sustainable industry. I mean, it is in some small ways, but not in some large ways, which is why I think you're seeing studios like Epic Games kind of move away from AAA development. I think. I mean, I don't know that they are, but it seems like they are.
Yeah, it's basically just a big risk, investment at that point, where they're going to be able to actually make as much money back per title as where they could scale it back and have 20 people work on a game and then only cost them maybe $200,000 and then get back $1 million for it. That's a good investment.
Speaking of 20 people working on a game, did you hear that Assassin's Creed Unity, which is only one of 2 Assassin's Creed games coming out this year. There's Assassin's Creed Unity and Assassin's Creed Comet because, hey, why have an Assassin's Creed game every year when you can have 2 a year? Why the fuck not? Not counting handhelds.
Well, Unity is next-gen exclusive or current-gen exclusive, and Comet will be 360 and PS3 only.
But still.
Yeah.
Unity is being developed by 10 studios.
Yeah.
10 studios?
Yes.
Oh, that's the thing. It's the goddamn. A lot of people do not understand that scaling it up does not work.
Right.
I completely forget the term for this, but when you throw more people at it, you lose productivity, you lose quality. And a lot of managers love this idea of being like, "Oh, we'll just put more people at it. If it's gonna take 80 work hours, 80 man hours for it, doesn't matter. We'll hire 80 people, get it done in an hour." No, it doesn't work like that.
Right.
There's diminishing returns on it, and eventually you become so quagmired in people trying to communicate with each other that it's just it's almost impossible.
Yeah, the 10 studios are Ubisoft Montreal, Toronto, Singapore, Quebec, Annecy, Shanghai, Chengdu, Kiev, Montpellier, and Bucharest.
This is not going to turn out well. I can tell you right now, just by the number of people working on it, unless they have amazing managers, this is not going to turn out well. If they're planning on getting out this year,
yeah.
And when was it announced?
It was
a couple
announced
months ago.
I'm not sure if we should speak out too much against working long distance.
No, I'm not talking about working long distance. I'm talking about distributing among 10 studios, which have how many fucking people each?
I know. Well, I mean, and then the language barrier.
Well, language barrier is a little less of an issue because I imagine most of them are probably going to speak English because it's just the business language.
Can't they just have a central server system that it doesn't our modernized technology allow for that sort of thing to happen? I mean, much the same way we're developing a game from different parts of the country. What's the difference from a studio doing it? Just because as long as the management is there.
You complicate it every time you pass it to another
person.
Sure,
and it becomes a game like a game of telephone, right?
Yeah.
And I guess what you need to do is have amazing managers.
Who's working on what?
Managing the
what
lines
assets
of
need
stuff.
to get done? Who's writing what code? Are you going to try to segment each part of the game to different studios? Are they working with the same specifications? Are the documents up to date? Is language barrier going to change what's in the documentation?
Right.
It's a lot of fucking.
Toast
you just
points.
add layers and layers of complication onto it to the point where it's just.
Right. Toast points is just use Google Translate. It's all good.
Oh God. Yeah.
That would be.
Craig wants us to do a shots call. He wanted us to do that last week, but we didn't end up doing it.
All right. You know what it's time for?
Shot.
Chris Davis, you didn't do a shot.
Greg, you need a drink.
There you go. I started with Arch Craig shot, and then I went to Tranny Babysitter shot.
Yeah, you did. Where you got stoned halfway through.
I drank about 2 shots there, so.
There you go.
I just finished whatever I had in here.
So, I don't know. We'll see. I know what you're saying, Bob. I totally know what you're saying. What they need is really amazing managers to just manage this whole thing. And maybe it is that cut and dry. Like, you guys are doing the clothes. This studio is doing the level design. Then after you're done with the level design, you send the blocked out levels to this studio, and you guys are actually making the art. You know what I mean?
Oh, you know how hard it is. We're trying to design our game. We have a design document, and iterative development does not work in an environment like that. Where if you say, true. Okay, we have all this planned out, you guys are going to make this level design, we're going to work on the core mechanics, but then you have another team that's working on the core mechanics and go, this doesn't work. Like, we need to change some of these core mechanics because these are not balanced. Like, in theory, they worked, but in practicality, they do not.
That's true.
That's going to roll over, and that's going to affect the level design. That's going to affect, maybe some of the character design. They need some new assets. Like, that's going to snowball into a bunch of different things.
It's all interconnected. It's all interconnected.
Yeah, it's all interconnected.
And it's funny because I think oftentimes one of my thoughts is about developing Tetropolis and Next Gen Pants is that I think, God, imagine how much work we could get done if we were all in the same place. And we could all just go into a meeting room together with a big whiteboard and spend an hour just scratching stuff off and writing stuff down and having those think about like you and me, Bob, at GDC. It's like, well, let's just get drinks when we're done. We went to get drinks and all the brainstorming we did just because we were in the same room and all the little things we came up with and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that, Skype is great and the videos are great, but there's something like, there is something magical that happens when you get everyone in the same room and you sort of start feeding off that same energy that's very difficult to replicate over like Skype or over the internet and stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean there's a lot of body language that's lost when you're not in person, and that allows you to be able to push boundaries.
Yeah.
And kind of really push people to work harder, work more, synergize.
Yeah, no, exactly. But so we'll see.
We'll see how it is, but like I don't have a lot of faith in projects that are run like that.
It's going to be tough. We'll see how it goes.
Well, especially with the scope of the project, because what it actually is supposed to be, right?
Well, it's a co-op. It's co-op, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a 4-player online cooperative Assassin's Creed title.
Yeah.
Being developed by 10 different studios at one time.
And the development time is a year.
Well, they said it's been in development for about 3 years. So I don't know.
And you know what? It's a great idea. I would love a co-op Assassin's Creed where you actually assassinated people, and it actually, like you needed 4 people. Like, we have to get this guy. So one assassin needs to go and it needs to assassinate the horses to stop the carriage. And when you assassinate the horses, a second later, I'm going to jump on the carriage and pull off the top. And as soon as I pull off the top, you jump in and do the assassination. Like, stuff like that can be very cool. Like, coordinated assassinations can be neat.
That would be great. There's actually a game that's out right now that would really help you prepare for that team building.
I know, you son of a bitch. I know what you're going to say.
It's called Payday 2.
Is it called Payday 2? I figured it might be called Payday 2. I figured it might be called Payday 2.
Well, it is true. I am very sincere about that.
No, I know. You know what? I have Payday 2 on my PS3, and it's been sitting there for probably months, and I haven't started it yet.
Well, you will, because I've converted Crispy, and Bob is soon to convert.
Are you both? Oh wait, hold on. Are you and Crispy both on PC?
Yes.
See that? I want to get on PC then, so I can play with you guys.
I mean, he messaged me the other night at 1:30 in the morning wanting to play Payday.
God damn it, Crispy. Crispy. You know what? I think what keeps me away from Payday and Payday 2 is the fact that I don't want to play with people I don't know because they were mean to me last time I tried. They kicked me out. Well,
you were a newbie, and they don't want to play with newbies.
They don't. I would get in. I was like, "Hey guys, I'm excited," and kick. Oh.
Yep.
And I would get another game like, "Hi guys, let's do." Oh, I got kicked. I would keep on getting kicked. They put all these nerds kicking sand in my face.
I know.
But if I can do heists with you and Crispy and maybe Bob or Nick or somebody, Here's a quick question about Nick. Has Nick shown up in Final Fantasy XIV? He made a character. I never saw him.
I don't know.
I think he has, but only briefly.
I haven't played in a couple of days. I actually need to pay for my month now. But I haven't.
Experience.
What's that?
You'll probably have a ton of Rust experience. Yeah, Jeff Terra and I have been playing. We've been doing dungeons.
I know. I need to get back in.
It's fun.
I know it's fun. I've been busy.
Yeah.
Stuff. But, all right, it's 10 o'clock.
We've got some news to get through, but I can make it real quick.
Let's do some quick news.
Okay. Delays until 2015. We have 2 new titles for that. Dying Light has been delayed till February. and the Division has been officially delayed until sometime in 2015.
I'm not surprised.
Not surprised on the Division, but it was kind of hopeful that it would appear this year.
Yeah,
so.
I'm actually surprised about Daylight, but
Dying Light.
Dying Light. Sorry, there's a lot of days and lights and deads and
Yeah, there is. I mean, Dead Light and Dying Light
and Dead Nation,
Post-Mortem Light,
and Dead Nation and Dead Rising, and it's just.
Why does everything have to be like a dead or dying or fading pun?
All of in my video game collections, my D section is fucking huge because of that.
I know.
Everyone's D section is huge. The Division.
Oh man, I completely forgot about that.
Division's gonna go in there because you don't do it by you do it by Division.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you do it like me, by Tom Clancy's The Division, but that's just me.
Oh, you do you play all your Tom Clancy games together. That makes sense. Actually.
Yeah,
that makes sense because it's actually Tom Clancy's The Division. Yeah, that makes sense.
Tom Clancy's the D.
Tom Clancy wants the D.
Tom Clancy had the D.
He had the D. Yeah. The death.
Rest his soul.
By the D, you mean the death.
Yeah. PlanetSide 2 on PS4.
Yes. When?
They don't have a date, but it's confirmed to run at 1080p and will be playable at E3.
Okay, first of all, there is. Okay.
Excuse me.
I read the article, and they said we have it running at 1080p, and we had dozens of players there.
Dozens?
And yeah, exactly. I was like, what? What? Dozens? That's not PlanetSide 2, my friends. PlanetSide 2 is when you have hundreds of people to the point where the game can no longer render everybody.
Dozens is a single platoon.
Yeah.
How many platoons do you have?
Yeah, a platoon is 48 people, okay? And that's all of us drinking and drunk and charging toward a warp gate for no other reason other than to cause everyone havoc. So when they said, oh, it's 1080p and we had dozens of people, I was like, oh, God, that does not sound good. That does not sound good. I'm a little worried about PlanetSide 2 on the PS4 for the first time when they said that.
Yeah. So, other news. Interceptor Entertainment, our good friends who made Rise of the Triad.
Right.
So, they've revealed their next game.
Yeah.
And it's not a Duke Nukem game.
Well, because they got sued.
Yeah, they got sued.
So I know the background story of this. So basically what happened was they were making a Duke Nukem game, an isometric Duke Nukem game, and they got sued by Gearbox, of course, because they sold the IP to Gearbox and then apparently forgot they did that for some reason. So, but you know why they sold the IP to Gearbox is because Gearbox gave them money to keep existing, and in return they got the IP. So I think they maybe thought that like Gearbox gave it to them and they didn't just a friendly loan, and they didn't really sell Duke even though they did. Anyway, Bombshell was going to be Duke's sidekick in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they can't use Duke anymore because of the lawsuit, they move Bombshell up to the main character, and that's why it's Bombshell now.
Right. Okay. So I was wondering, like, that's why a bunch of people were like, "Oh, it's gonna be another Duke game. It's gonna be a Duke game." And obviously, like with the promo, everything being like, the bubblegum, the kick-ass and bubblegum, whatever they had. It's like,
NoGumNeeded.com.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, oh, that's all Duke, whatever. And that makes a lot more sense now, like with the Bombshell thing, because I was like, wait, what? This is very disjointed. Being like with the way they're presenting it versus what it actually is.
Exactly. So that was going to be Duke's sidekick, and they just took Duke out of the game. Yeah. So the trailer came out, and
I'm sorry to say, but it looks dumb.
The trailer did not show enough. I'm not quite sold on it. The trailer did show anything.
We didn't see any gameplay.
No.
I've seen
some screenshots. Some of the screenshots look interesting. I want to see gameplay.
We saw the character, and she hung out, watched TV for a bit, and then got on a motorcycle.
Yeah, but she's not very well animated to begin with, first off, and her character design, I really don't care for. She looks like a ripoff of Jack from Mass Effect.
No. She reminds me of the chick from Heavy Metal.
Which all heavy metals? Every heavy metal cover ever made.
No. Heavy Metal. Heavy Metal Fact 2. Heavy Metal FAAK 2.
You know, I think
FKK 2.
You know, I said something in I talked about this in Hip Chat in our studio chat a while ago, and I had been watching a lot of trailers for indie games, both good and bad, and all this kind of stuff. And I it's something I knew, but it kind of came with stark realization: is that you'll make your best game when you recognize your limitations and then work within them. And I think that trailer doesn't follow that axiom. You know, I think what I'm saying is I think the game is going to be much better than that trailer.
Well, it's got to be, because that wasn't a very good trailer. The only thing I liked about that trailer, that character, was on her robotic arm, the Terminator-like part of it.
Right.
Written on it were the words "No Fate." That's the only thing I liked about that. There's no other thing. No. I'm sorry.
I like women with short black hair, so that kind of did it for me.
You know, a lot of people looked at it and were like, "Is that Skrillex?"
I like that look on women. You know, that wafy heroine look really does it for me, honestly. And women who are half robot, I enjoy that as well.
Oh, that's right. She's half cyborg.
Yeah,
right?
like that. Kind of like that. It's kind of a turn on.
Yeah.
Pleasure me with your.
Let's go full cyborg at that.
Pleasure me with your robot hand.
Yes.
Cold steel. Anyway,
I want a hand job that's like a jackhammer.
that's a jack. Jack me off. That's a jackhammer. Jack did that. That didn't land very well. I don't know how to word that.
Jackhammer me off.
Jackhammer me. Nah, that's not right either. It's not right either.
You'll figure it out in post.
Yeah, we'll fix it in post. All right, one more.
As we previously mentioned, Far Cry 4 has been confirmed for November 18th.
I like that. I like
and
it. I like
the
this
rumors
game.
have suggested it does take place in Nepal.
Let me tell you something. I like this game. I like the villain. I think Far Cry is having a thing where they have really awesome villains. In fact, this is going to be another game where I want to play as the villain, because I wish I could look at that good in a purple suit. I don't think I could pull it off, but that guy fucking nails it. He nails it. Nails it.
All right. I want to know more about the character before I judge a picture, but
you know, people saying he's like Gary Oldman in The Fifth Element. He kind of does.
Yeah, I guess
I can see that.
Bit.
I can see that.
I like the picture of Willy Wonka and
that was awesome.
That was the best.
Did you see the Willy Wonka one, Bob?
No.
Oh, what? someone photoshops. If someone can put it in the chat, the Willy Wonka Far Cry 4 Photoshop is fucking spot on. It's really good.
Yeah, Willy Wonka Far Cry 4.
I got it here. I'm putting it in the chat.
I think I found it.
But I mean, people were saying, there it is. Yeah,
That's the best part.
That's so good. That's so good. People, there was this thing on Twitter, and I know Twitter can be awful, where people were saying he looked homosexual, and I was saying he just looks like he's from Southern California. If you go to any video game after party, there's like 5 or 6 people dressed like that.
I'm just saying, I'm not going to get after a man and judge him because he's carrying a fucking RPG right next to him.
Well, regardless, what if he's gay?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Why
Who
is that
cares?
an issue?
Who cares? Well, you know what? This is the only argument you can conceivably make. The only argument you can conceivably make is that if he turns out being homosexual, and I kind of hope he is, because I think that would make it more interesting, because straight people are kind of boring, let's be honest, is that, we never have a hero that's homosexual. It has to be a crazy, evil homosexual, and I can understand that argument. Yes, okay, we don't have any... we never have a homosexual protagonist. There's always... But you've had, like, Buffalo Bill or all those people. So I could understand that argument.
Yeah, I mean, like... hetero is just so vanilla. I just want to dip into a little chocolate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm hoping he's homosexual because he's going to be more interesting.
Yeah.
You know? He's going to be more, because, fuck, great, another like, heterosexual male evil dude. That's boring.
Well, I mean, also you have to worry about the whole fact of like if they do have an antagonist who happens to be a homosexual, that there could be outcry that they're demonizing homosexuals.
Well, that's what would happen.
Yeah,
but really, I just think they would make death fabulous. You know, like Richard Simmons as a crazy like antagonist in Far Cry 4.
For some reason, I see Richard Simmons in The Running Man.
Oh my God! As one of the stalkers, it's amazing that you just said that because I just watched The Running Man this week, and I forgot how good that movie was. That would be great. We're gonna sweat to the death. Let's do it.
Oh my God! I could see him doing that too.
It's time to start running.
Let's start running. I follow Richard Simmons on Facebook, and it's awesome. Did you guys follow Richard Simmons on Facebook?
I don't go on Facebook.
Oh my God, neither of you do, but you gotta follow Richard Simmons on Facebook.
It's amazing. I joined Facebook like 12 years ago.
Richard Simmons on Facebook is amazing because every single day he dresses up as a new character and does photo shoots and puts them up. And they're all amazing.
So he's like J52?
Think of J52, but like 20 times more gay and on more acid. Oh, he's amazing. He's so good. He'll have these like it'll be flamboyant or have like bedazzled stuff, or sometimes he dresses in drag, and it's amazing. He does these full character type of things all the time. It's really great. It's really great.
Okay, we probably need to start.
Okay, we're getting
two more stories for you. Just two more. That's it. I promise you. Mm-hmm. Okay. First one.
Sweating to the oldies. Keep on going. No, sir. No, it's been 17 hours. Keep dancing, you little bitch. No. That's what I want to see. I want to see Richard Simmons as his antagonist, and he's in his like Buddhist lair at the top of the Himalayas, and everyone is like little cages where they can hardly move, and they're like, they're like little goats being made into veal, And he's like, "Come on, you little bitch, let's go! Keep kicking those legs." No, son, I'm so sorry, I can't do it. We're getting invaded by Drunk Division. They miss us.
Oh, nice.
They miss us.
Wow.
All right, let's do these last two stories so we can get the Drunk Division and we can appease them. We can appease them. Let's do it.
Yes. Okay. First one. So we this past week Microsoft cut the price of the.
Oh, we got to do it. We got to.
But
it's time. We have to do shots. We got to do shots. You ready, everybody?
Okay.
Shot!
Okay.
Shot! 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 All right. All right.
So, what was less reported was that Microsoft was dropping the Xbox Live Gold paywall requirement for almost all their apps, including Netflix, Hulu, HBO Go, and a bunch of others.
Right.
And that, I gotta say, that's really nice.
Yeah. Well,
I like that.
Okay, hold on. Let's try not to suck Microsoft's dick too much because they should have done this from the very beginning or way before this.
It's 5 years overdue.
We're gonna stop fucking you in the ass. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. Keep it going, boys. Sweating to the oldies.
And they're
you should watch. Jim Sterling did a great thing on gamer gratitude recently that I think is
it was good. I watched it.
It was good. Anyway, last story.
Okay, last one. In light of the upheaval that's going on in the Ukraine right now, Deep Silver, in cooperation with Metro developer 4A Games, has moved 4A Games to the island of Malta.
What?
So they're building them a brand new headquarters in Malta, and that's going to be the head studio for 4A games.
Is that a big move for them?
Yeah.
Malta is in the Pacific, right?
No, it's in the Atlantic.
Is it in the Atlantic?
It's part of the EU.
But how far is that? How far? Where were they before?
No, I'm sorry. It's in the Mediterranean. What was I thinking? Mediterranean.
Where were they before?
They were in Kiev, Ukraine.
So, how many miles is that?
It's probably at least 500, 600 miles.
So they have to all leave their friends and families. How is this a positive thing?
Things aren't going well in the Ukraine. And
No.
Oh, they're in the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Oh, that's about that's probably for the best. In fact,
Malta's just south of Greece.
In fact, you know what? Yeah. They're probably happy to have a way to get out. Actually.
Well, if you've ever read anything about the tumultuous conditions they had to deal with while developing Last Light,
I did.
You can understand why they would want to move anyway.
Well, not only that, but it's probably they're probably like, oh, thank you for getting us. Ukraine. I totally missed that. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. So
speaking of which, not to get into politics, but Turkey is going to have a revolution pretty soon. I'm just throwing that out there. Just so you know,
that's fair to suggest.
The this whole mine thing that blew up, and then
everyone
was mourning, and then the president came out, and he basically said, and I quote, "Hey, accidents happen." That's what he said. That's literally what he said, and everyone started going crazy. And then just today, in one of the main cities, there were mourners, and then the police came out and started tear gassing the mourners.
Mm-hmm.
This is. I'm not to get too political on everybody. I love fucking politics, but people don't come here for that. But watch Turkey. Turkey is going to blow up this week. I think it's going to get
Eastern Europe is
really
not
bad.
in good shape.
No, it's not. Turkey's going to get really bad really fast. So keep your eyes on Turkey. Anyway, is that it? Is that all we got?
That is it.
All right, let us do our final thoughts of the evening. I will go first. I'm very excited for Drunk Division tonight. I wasn't sure if I was going to do it or not, but now that Arch Crank has showed up, now that the entire Drunk Division has shown up watching us here at Cocktail Time, we will be there after this. And I'm excited. I'm excited about Wolfenstein. And you know what I'm excited about? I'm excited about the future of Next Gen Pants and where we might be next. And hopefully we'll find out soon. And we shall see. Chris Davis.
I am excited for going to see Godzilla again. But more importantly, video games. Wolfenstein is out next week. Then Tropico 5. Then motherfucking Watch Dogs. Then Transistor. The next 2 weeks is going to be insane.
Yeah.
So you should really be excited as a gamer.
Cool. And Bob Webb.
Yeah, of course I'm excited for next gen pants stuff because we just, so much cool stuff has been going on over the last week or two where we just have the game is going to be awesome, really cool. But on top of that, also I need to try to balance it with Factorio, that game, the indie game I found out of nowhere. That game is fucking awesome. I really want to get more into it, and it's really promising. I hope more people check it out because it's one of those games that I am surprised no one's talking about.
That's true.
Because it's just that good. I never run across these things and being the first type, the first wave of people finding these, discovering these. That's never a thing. Yep. I'm wondering what the fuck is going on.
Oh no, I will definitely.
Am I crazy?
I will definitely be checking that out because it looks pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. All right, everybody. Well, thank you all for coming out tonight here at Cocktail Time live at 4playernetwork.com. I appreciate seeing you, all of you. Stick around because somebody might be taking over, but we will definitely be back. Probably, maybe, definitely, probably, maybe. You never know. Next week, next Friday night, 8 p.m. Pacific. And until then, make sure you check out the main website at 4playernetwork.com and make sure you check out our broadcast at 4pp.tv and all that good stuff. Have a good night, everybody, and a great weekend.